Welcome everyone today. I'm your host Kelly Fairhurst and we'll be touching on a topic everyone can relate to, stop stressing out. We will look at how we can relate to the extended DISC model in relation to stress in both our personal and work environment and how we can use the extended DISC model to alleviate stress. We all experience pressure and stress. I don't think we can live a stress-free life, but we can look at some strategies to help us deal with stress. We can reduce stress by feeling that we have more control of the situation around us. We will look at how we react to different pressures around us and the consequences of our reactions. In reality, the only thing we control is ourselves. We can't control others' behaviours, but we can control our own. I'm sure all of us have experienced stress or pressure over the past few years. Stress is not a bad thing. Stress is often perceived as a negative connotation, but some of us need a bit of stress or pressure to motivate us. I know I need a bit of stress to motivate me, whether it's I need to sell an idea to a team or prepare training material. I need a bit of stress or pressure to motivate me. Typically, when we are under stress, we are at our best. Obviously, when we experience too much stress for a length of time, this is when it may have a detrimental impact on our ability to perform or how we feel. So what we're going to look at today is the causes of stress and how they are different from one person to another because of who we are. Because we are all different, we will look at what tends to cause us and the other behavioural styles stress, how we react to stress, and if we know how we react differently under stress, understand why we react the way we do, it's easier for us to be in control. We are able to modify our behaviour and make a conscious effort and make intelligent decisions about what to do under stress or pressure. We will look at alleviators of stress. There are different ways for each of the behavioural styles, but there are some common things to do. Exercise, a glass of wine, a walk on the beach. We will look at a couple of ways how to reduce stress and different alleviators for the different styles. Remember, not all stress is a bad thing as long as we can control it. I'm sure we've been in situations where we want to lose it, either at someone in our personal or at work life. Stress is a good thing if you can control it. Let's revisit the axes. You have the top part of the quadrant with task-orientated people. They have their to-do lists. They're very goal-orientated. They want to get things done and they love being challenged. Moving down to the bottom part of the quadrant, you have your people-orientated people. They consider human effects and how things affect people. They will make decisions that consider human aspects, people's feelings and emotions. Then you cross it over to the people who are introverted on the left-hand side or right-hand side, extroverted. We all have a little bit of these styles within us. We can adjust or modify our behaviour to certain people or situations, but we will still revert back to our dominant behavioural styles under stress or pressure, as this is the most comfortable style for us. Unfortunately, we have a tendency when things go wrong to blow up and react in stressful situations. We will look at later how you can manage our behaviour. You would now have worked out, especially with family members, you cannot control their behaviour or situations, but you can in fact influence or even diffuse what goes on. We can't control certain situations, but we can control how we react. Think of someone you know who sits on the quadrant. D stands for dominance. Think of someone who likes to lead, is competitive, not afraid to take risks. Like all styles, some of their strengths, while other behaviours may be a little bit challenging for us, especially when they're put under stress or pressure. They're going to become too much of those strengths listed before. So they might become more blunt, more assertive. Think of an eye. Eyes are influencers. They can walk into a room and meet friends. They're social butterflies. They can walk in with smiles on their faces. They make lunch dates. They're very charismatic, energetic. These people are generally well liked, and under stress or pressure, they can become too much of that behavioural style. They can become too chatty, seeking out informal networks. They move too quick. They'll start to lose detail. The S, the most cool, calm and collected are the four behavioural styles. They don't have the highs and lows. They're very stable in between. They're fantastic listeners, very logical. They're not your job hoppers because they like familiar, stable environments and routine. And they don't like new challenges being thrown at them quickly. These people make long-lasting friendships and they will have a selection of friends. The C's at the top stand for straight and narrow correctness. They are perfectionists. These guys dot the I's and cross the T's and need lots of information to make decisions. I'm sure you can relate to one of these styles. Identifying what a person's behavioural style is all about, the behaviours they exhibit, why they react the way they do in relation to your behaviour and how your behaviours you exhibit. It is about how you take a predominant behavioural style, really infuse it into a situation, and where you say to yourself, how can I modify my behaviour so I can relate a little bit better or communicate a bit better with peers or family members. The diamond is a visual module. Look at where you sit. Most people are a combination of 2 traits. Some of us are a combination of 3. Typically less than 0.04% are what we call 100% of a trait. And if you think about what 100% D would be, they'd be very blunt, demanding, aggressive. They're at top of the food chain. They don't want to be anybody else, and most importantly, deal with anyone else. And there's the combinations between DI, IS, so forth. This is what using the diamond is all about, not only plotting who the person's natural behavioural style is, but where they feel they need to adjust to be successful in their current role. The key is to understand the model and what it means, where to sit on the diamond, and where you need to move to deal with different situations. Stress is your body's way of responding to any kind of fear. When you sense danger, whether it's real or imagined, your body defences kick into gear in rapid automatic reaction known as the fight or flight mode, or the stress response mode. The situations and pressure that cause stress are known as stressors. We usually think stresses as being negative, such as exhausting work schedule or a rocky relationship. However, anything that puts high demands on us can be stressful. For example, if a person's results above, you can identify that losing their freedom can cause a significant amount of stress. If this person was to lose freedom in their job or personal life, their fight or flight mode, also known as their stress response, would kick into gear. I recommend referring back to the standard behavioural analysis or our grow and develop assessment, and you can ask us for this to be added into your account to identify the factors that are most likely to generate stress for you. Remember, why stress isn't always bad. In small doses, it can help you perform under pressure and motivate you to do your best. When we are under stress or pressure, we revert back to our natural behavioural style, our hardwired behaviours. And the reason we do this is because it takes energy to modify our behaviour. For example, I'm a high I, and when I have to focus on a lot of details or repetitive routines, by the end of the day, I'm worn out. That same behaviour happens to everyone when they're having to move away from their natural behaviours. Stress takes energy. It can be draining. So to compensate for this drain in energy, we revert back to our natural behavioural style. There's nothing wrong with this, except we lose some of our ability to modify our behaviours. Under stress or pressure, we become too much of ourselves. We gain the too effect. For example, if you're high D, you may become too aggressive, too competitive. If you're a high I, you might become too talkative and start to seek attention everywhere. If you're a high S, you might become too laid back or too withdrawn. If you're a C, you may become too analytical, seeking for more information that makes you feel comfortable for making decisions. As stress and pressure increases, so can the negative aspects of our behaviour. Think about a family member, co-worker, when they are under stress or pressure. They might become too much. Their strengths become overused or pronounced. They actually become clear weaknesses. If you are self-aware, you may be aware of these weaknesses and how they become apparent in your behaviour under stress or pressure. Like anything, we all have our strengths and development areas. Sometimes if we overuse our strengths, they can become our weaknesses. Stress uses large amounts of energy, so to compensate for this drain, we revert back to our natural behavioural style. The overused diamond includes genetic text about how an individual may behave when under stress or pressure, or simply when they're overusing or emphasising their natural strengths. Refer to the overused diamond in the grow and develop assessment to identify how you may react to under pressure situations, or alternatively, you can view results against this diamond in your open preview part of Finks. For example, if the above diamond is a high I can see they have strong emotional opinions and focus too much on the opinion of others under stress or pressure. Although small amounts of stress can help motivate you when you're constantly running in stress mode, your body and mind may pay the price. Your teammates and your family can also be affected by your reactions to pressure situations. As managers, co-workers and friends, we can begin to identify signs of stress in others. Recognizing the signs help us better support and assist them, therefore improves the work environment. The Overjuice Diamond is a great resource as it provides a basic overview of how each style may appear if they're under a significant amount of stress. We also have the opportunity to delve deeper into our signs of stress through the Stress Job templates. There are 31 signs of stress under the behavioural competencies in our system. Therefore, the most significant causes of stress will be unique to each person. As a high I, we can see that our example person becomes overly concerned about relationships and will have strong emotional opinions when under large amounts of stress. An awareness of these significant factors is critical in gaining a better control of stressful situations. We often fail to realise that our own behaviour makes things worse. Once we start to feel stressed, we tend to let emotions take over. Then we are less likely to think about how we should modify our behaviour to improve the outcomes. The key is self-awareness. Who we are, what causes us stress, how we react to stress, and how to alleviate stress. You need to know how you're going to react under stress or pressure. I will give you an example. This morning I was trying to get 2 children clothed, dressed, ready for school. I've got 2 dogs that need feeding, one of them that disappears every time you go to put them away. I have chickens that need feeding and ponies that need to be let out of the stables, and this is all before work at 7:45. On top of this, I've finally coaxed the dog out from under the deck to put him away, and my son tells me he needs an article for current events that day. By the time I get to work, I'm feeling rather wound up, frazzled, and I walk into an office with a smile on my face. I need to step back and realise how I may react. When you take a step back to realise how you may react, rather than go into the office in a bad mood, you can't change an event that has already happened. How do I need to react with the people around me? It's not productive bringing in the bad mood and saying bad things or saying things that aren't related to the employees. This may make this situation even worse. Revisit the part of your report every couple of months, the development areas, and look at how you may react to stress or pressure situations, so we can decide if or what modifications to our behaviour we can improve to improve our outcomes. Sometimes we may be under a bit of stress or pressure and we decide we're not going to adjust our behaviour. That's fine. Also, at least you know there are some consequences to your negative behaviour. Alleviating stress. There are some common things you can do to alleviate stress, and we'll look at this later on in the webinar. The last thing is think before we act, especially when we're around people who are important to us, our co-workers, family, and members and colleagues. People you know who are the most comfortable with, usually the ones who take the blunt of our blows. The people at their worst and at their best with people they know and love. If you frequently find yourself feeling frazzled and overwhelmed, it's time to take action and bring your nervous system back into balance. You can protect yourself and improve how you think and feel by learning how to alleviate stress. In our first example, a significant cause of stress for an individual was losing their freedom. To alleviate this cause of stress, their manager or team members could give them more room to solve problems independently. The stress release job templates can help you learn some practical tips for alleviating stress based on DISC styles. The D styles want to be in charge of their own destiny. They make their own decisions, they want to be in control. And what causes stress is when it's taken away from them. When they lose control, they're not able to make decisions. They become too aggressive, too blunt, or they have the two effect. They say things that may be hurtful. We all have probably worked with a D under stress, and we know they say things they don't really mean. It feels good for them at the moment to release the tension by making a blunt comment, but they do not often think about how it's going to motivate that employee in the long run. They're not going to be motivated, they're going to be under stress. They take the stress to their workers, co-workers, production will go down, and you need to remember the long-term goal will end up hurting the most. Think before we act. Count to 10 to alleviate stress. Stop focusing on the short-term goals and look on the long-term goals, what we are trying to achieve. When looking at the D styles, I know they can be very vocal, loud, abrupt. They will blow their top. They are not in control, and when they blow their top, it's over for a D. They've temporarily released their stress, but the damage is done. It will take a lot longer for the employees to recover from the D explosion. Looking at the I style, when someone snaps at the I, they take it very personally. I styles want to be liked. They want to be popular. So when they're verbally attacked, they take it personally. They become really overcaring about relationships. They try and seek popularity, even develop strong opinions which they will defend blindly and become emotional. Those who are not I style find it very difficult to understand why they are reacting the way they are. This may seem that they are not acting rationally, they are not making sense. To alleviate, allow them to interact with people, meet people, reconnect with those relationships. The I style will then alleviate stress. The S, the biggest cause of stress for an S is unexpected change. Change in the environment, change in the workplace, moving job roles. Things do happen unexpectedly. X styles like structure, routine. So by helping an S, by giving them support they need, especially in times of change, by answering the how questions, how will we do it? And more importantly, how will it impact an S style? When an S style gets the how questions answered, they start to feel better. And finally, the C like structure. So when they're in unstructured situations with no clear instructions or information, or it may even be a bit of a chaotic environment, unlike the other task-orientated style D, who seem to like a little bit of chaos or even create chaos, the C style want the structure. And when that's not there, they will become uncomfortable. They need the why questions answered. Why are we doing this? Give them some data so they can run the analysis, run the numbers, and then they will begin to feel more comfortable. The C styles under pressure become more withdrawn, introverted. They will seem to disappear. So when you see or not see a C style slowly withdraw, it is a good indication that this person is under pressure or stress and the situation needs to be addressed. When pressure mounts up, it becomes too much. Under stress, how we lose it depends on what style we are. The D styles yell, they're usually very verbal, but we typically lose it with the people we love the most. If you've had a bad day and you go to a networking event or a social event, you are generally nice. You put your best foot forward because it's socially acceptable. But often when we go home and someone irritates us, we tend to overreact. We say something to our family member or child, we react badly. We just need to be aware not to take stress or pressure home. Think about how you can apply your best behaviour to the ones who you care about most. If you go home and apply your worst, your day won't get any better, or with the day around you. If you apply your worst behaviour, you will get more stressed, feel guilty about how you reacted, and will end up having to do a little repair work to fix the damage. Ultimately, we cannot control or modify other people's behaviours. We can only change ourselves. DISC will help us be more mindful of how we interact with others and also our own stress levels. The big takeaway is to be more self-aware and understand what will cause your DISC style stress to give you more control over stress, so you know your DISC style and you're able to manage it. Be your best behaviour with the people you love most. For more information, email info@hrprofiling.com and keep an eye out for the next webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.